Joining us from downtown Toronto to talk a little bit more about this is Jeff Ansell. He's a media and crisis communications advisor. Jeff, great to get you on the show. You are the author of this book, When the Headline Is You. Certainly the case right now for Mayor Rob Ford. From a crisis management position, how has the mayor handled this, do you think?
Well, Todd, not very well. If you look at the circus that took place at his driveway yesterday and the melee that took place at City Hall, the mayor comes across predictably as defensive and argumentative. And what's hurting him even more is the fact that he appears to have misled the public about the existence of a video. And at this point, no one knows precisely what's in the video except him, or what the situation is except him.
Right. Now, the mayor has been very consistent in denying that any of this is true, at one point saying there is no video. This has been the story for about 6 months or so. What happens now if his story changes?
Well, you know, Todd, sunlight is the best disinfectant. I think what happens next depends in part on what the real story is and what the advice he's getting from his legal counsel. There are a great many legal implications involved here, and that is going to impact the communication strategy. I can tell you that if the mayor continues to issue denials and it turns out that the story is perhaps more than he said it was, it's only going to make his cause even worse and hurt him even more.
What do you make of the way the mayor and his brother, some of his advisors, have sort of handled this in terms of the media sphere?
Well, they've fed right into the hands of the media. The media love Rob Ford. Rob Ford hates the media. It's very easy to rile Rob Ford. It's very easy to poke the bear. And so he's been falling into the hands of the media. They love it when the mayor chases him. It makes for great television.
But by accusing the media, particularly the Toronto Star, of sort of having a vendetta against him, did that raise the stakes? Did that sort of raise the temperature?
Well, you know, the mayor has a difficult relationship with media generally. In fact, recently he called reporters media maggots. He's had this war with the Toronto Star for many, many years now, I guess since he took over as mayor. His relationship with media, he had at one point support from papers like the Toronto Sun and so on, but even they're backing off in their defense of Rob Ford, and they as well, like every other major daily in town, are calling on the mayor to step down.
If we were talking about a company here, Jeff, and we were talking about, let's say, a CEO being embroiled in a scandal like this, I mean, what would likely happen to the CEO?
The CEO would be gone. The shareholders would likely demand that he or she step down, at least during the course of the investigation. And the executive team would likely call for that as well. And if and when the CEO were exonerated, perhaps they would be welcomed back. But the problem would be that it would be very difficult for the company to continue its day-to-day business affairs if all anybody was talking about were the alleged crimes or misdeeds of the CEO.
Let's say Mayor Ford called you, Jeff, and said, I need help. What should I do? What would you advise him?
Well, it's funny you asked that, Todd. 2 years ago, I got a call from the mayor's office. A senior official said the mayor was thinking about engaging my services. I went down to City Hall and was told that the mayor is having challenges with the media. Can you help? I said, yes, I believe I can. And then I was told, well, the mayor doesn't want the city of Toronto to pay. And I said, I don't want the city of Toronto to pay. And then they said to me, well, you know, the mayor doesn't want to pay himself either. And I called their bluff and I said, well, I'll do it for nothing. You know, I don't think he's one of those people who can take counsel. I think he's entrenched in his ways. But if I were engaged by him, Todd, I'd do the best I could to get him to tell me the real story. Then I would ask the tough questions to see if they pass the smell test. If they pass the smell test and his lawyers buy into it, then I would suggest he talk about what he was doing in that video and what his relationship was to those people. Now, if he can't, for whatever reason, explain what he was doing, then he would have to stick to his line about wanting to talk about this. Unfortunately, because it's before the courts, he's precluded from speaking. But I think he should add that he apologizes for having misled people about the existence of the video. He can apologize to the media for his outburst. And, you know, if he can't explain this, at least ask the media to help protect, maintain the privacy of his family. Please don't hang around my house. There are a number of questions I know that will be answered over the course of time. In the interim, kindly allow me to continue my work at City Hall, and all the questions that people have about this situation will be answered as the situation continues to unfold.
Some great insights, Jeff. Great talking to you and getting you on the show. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Todd.